Hello, my name is Zarina and I am now addicted to Caraval. In this video, you are going to watch me fall in love with the trilogy and excuse every single quote-unquote bad thing that happened in it. Enjoy. So I have been both listening and reading the book. I'm like 15% in and I didn't know that I needed this book in my life this much. I have always been a fan of magic, games, stuff like that, and this book has all of them. I don't know much about the book, but all I know is that this world is a magical place. I mean, I guess some people have magic, and the first quote that I highlighted was also about magic, that it said, if you really, really want something, magic lets you have it, something like that. I don't remember now. This is the quote that I highlighted. I liked it so much. Again, I love magic. All my favorite movies have a magic element in the forefront. So I am really, really excited to keep going with this. And I think what I love the most about this is that there's like sisters bond, how protective the sisters are of each other. We usually see main characters being single child and they are the whole world of the family or just orphans, something like that. Seeing characters that have siblings is breath of fresh air, like Elsa and Anna vibes. So yeah, I love the dynamics so far. And yeah, I am very excited to get to know the world, understand the magic. I was actually going to read Once Upon a Broken Heart, but people wrote that you need to read Caraval first to understand the magic better. And I am a sucker for magical worlds. Anyways, I love magic, basically. I will come back with another update when I read more. Hello there, it's been a week since the last clip you saw. Since then, I have finished Caraval and I just realized that I forgot to update you. By the way, if you want, you can follow me on Goodreads. I always update with reviews, and whenever I update, I put my reviews there. I always write reviews when I give stars to the books when I finish them, but I also realized you can update your progress and put a comment there. So I've been doing that, of course, and yeah, I've been writing down my feelings along the way. So about Caraval, let's talk about Caraval. I am going to keep this part spoiler free. So in the beginning of the book, I actually didn't like the sister. She was portrayed as this silly, carefree person who doesn't even care about the future actions. But in the first few chapters, you realize she's not that dumb, actually, and she's not carefree. She very much so cares for her sister. And at the end of the book, book one is about finding Tella, so I think it is not a spoiler that she goes missing. So, like missing, like, anyways, at the end of the book, when she is here again, you get more depth to her story, and I was not expecting that I would like her more than Scarlett. I mean, it is like, if you know me, you know that I don't like main characters. Usually I don't like them. So far, Scarlett has been a oh my god, it's mosquito. He just took his last breath in my hands. So I was saying I usually don't like main characters, but Scarlett, I was really liking her. The one thing that I wasn't liking about her was that it's gonna be spoiler, so I'm going to say it for the spoiler folks. I had one dislike about Scarlett, but at the end we realized it is not like that. So my one dislike for Scarlett, it was just gone. And about the world, oh my god, I don't think I have ever mentioned in this channel how much I love magic. Not magic tricks, the magical world, fantasy world. I love it. I would sell my soul to go live as a peasant in an enchanted forest where I know things are enchanted. I'm not even exaggerating, okay? I would sell my soul to that. Of all the magic stuff that, like magical fantasy stuff I've watched, it's like there is a one universal rule that magic cannot do. It's like not one rule, there are multiple. I feel like there are applicable in every magical place, and if it is not, I don't take that magical world seriously. I'm not even joking. I take my magic very seriously. It is not a toy, you know. You cannot just do whatever you want with magic. It should not how it's not how it should work, okay? When people do anything they want with the magic, it's like, it's at that point it's ridiculous to me. But in this book, it was following the rules, and I am here for it. And there were some points in this book as well about the magic system that I was not liking, but again, at the end, it turned out to be, it did not take me out of the magical world. So that is a huge thing to accomplish, because my standards for magic world is like higher than my standards for, I don't know, food that I'm eating, you know. And I'm a vegetarian, like I have principles. I don't know how. Anyways, do what you will with that information. I really adored the world, the rules. You know, there are some confusing. I have written that as a note on my Goodreads as well. I am sometimes confused about new stuff. It all comes back to make sense at the end. So I feel like I need to reread this whole thing again and again, not only because I want to understand the world. It's so beautiful to be in my opinion. Anyways, that's my update for Caraval, and I think you can already guess that I gave 5 stars to this book. And I also mentioned this on my Goodreads that, not to be dramatic, I knew this was going to be 5 stars from the first page of the book. Like, at least, like, if I didn't like the plot, the magical world itself gets 5 stars from me. I'm going to give the Red Queen book as an example again. I don't know why, but I give that book as an example all the time. I hated that book. Like, I hated the characters. I hated the story, but the world was so beautiful. That is why I rated it 2 stars instead of 1 star. The world was beautiful. It was also dystopian fantasy. There were some powers, stuff like that, but I love magic more than powers, and one could argue what's the difference. There's a huge difference. And potions and all the like magical stuff, it's in the name, it's magical. I don't want to geek out more with this thing. I do love the superpowers, stuff like that, but I would take magic over superpowers any day. This is my review for Caraval, my update for it. And since it's been a week, you may already know that I have started the next book, Legendary. Oh, I haven't even talked about Legend himself. So Legend, the master of Caraval, wow. I mean, we don't know his identity. We don't know his real name. He treats his identity like his most precious treasure. Like, aside from being mysterious, he is a villain, at least from our point of view. And mysterious villain, hell yes, give me more of that. So yeah, the next book is Legendary, which I was under the impression. I was under the impression that this book would be more about Legend himself, but it was about Tella, which I was surprised, but fine by me. I really like Tella, and I like her even more in this book, like because of this book, because we can see her point of view. I like her even more. She turned out to be a really clever person. Like, she's not stupid and careless, carefree person as she was painted out to be in the book 1. So I've been loving it. I am 80% in the book. There is one thing that I need to confess. There are some scenes in this book where, you know, feelings are developed. They're talking about their feelings and, you know, they act like they don't like each other, but they actually do. And in that scenario, usually how they express their feelings, like they want to seem that they are disgusted of the other, but they actually like in those conversations, it's actually cringy, extremely cringy to me. But for some reason, I don't know, I like this couple. I love this couple. And, you know, both of them are a bit villainous, a bit mischievous, and maybe that adds to it. You know, seeing the outcasts and a bit mischievous people falling in love, like seeing them falling in love right in front of your eyes. Maybe that's why I am not cringing, like, I don't know. I really love them. Especially this quote. She said, "No, I don't want your help. I want you."
The woman was too stunned to speak.
Like, how can you say that? How can you say that to a person unless you really, really love them? My jaw dropped, okay? And there were multiple sentences like these that make my jaw drop. I should have cringed. But I liked it. I don't know why. Yeah, so far, I am at 80% of this book. And again, this book is a bit more confusing than the first one because here there are more creatures that we didn't hear about in the first book. Maybe we did, I was just oblivious to that, I don't know. And this is why I'm telling you that I need to reread this book, like reread this trilogy. I haven't even finished the book 2. I want to reread this whole trilogy. So yeah, in this book 2, Legendary, there are some new stuff, new complications. I am being crushed under the new information, but I love it all the same. Anyways, I love it. I just love it. Yeah, I guess that's all for my update. I talked long enough. I need to finish this book and I will get back to you with my final thoughts. The more I spend time in this world, the more I want to be in there. And today I was just called out for being maladaptive daydreamer by this book. You know, from now on, I'll call it being a reader, not dreamer. I'm not fine with that title, but it is what it is, I guess. So yeah. I will see you when I'm finished with this book. I can already tell you, like, I am loving this. The one thing I may not like about this book can be the plot twists, that when the plot twists happen and the twists are so extreme that the plot breaks altogether. I hate when that happens because you are the writer. Like, from the writer's point of view, you have spent hopefully a long time on this book and you have many editors, I'm guessing, like at least 2 editors that have read through this, and not single person said, let's change this because this doesn't make sense. I hate when things doesn't make sense. If that happens here, I am like 99% sure that it won't happen here. Right now, I am not trying to put my expectations too high that I don't like the ending. That is exactly why I try not to guess the ending, because if my version of ending is better than the book itself, I'm going to be disappointed, you know? That's why I try not to do any kind of guessing, speculating. So up until now, this book is 5 stars. So hopefully it will stay that way. So I'll catch you when I'm finished with the book. Bye!
2 weeks later.
So I actually have forgotten to give you an update on book 2, Legendary. Since the last clip, I have finished it. I am almost halfway through the 3rd book, finale. I don't know how I forgot to give you an update. Obviously, my rating is 5 stars. Magic system is usually the same for many magical places. Like, there are some rules that magic cannot do. I said that this universe also goes according to those rules, but I think they don't. I'm not sure yet. There are so many questions in my mind that I want to Google them. I want to read the Wikipedia of this fandom, but I don't want to get spoiled. So I am waiting to, like, I am trying to finish with the trilogy so that I can go and read all about this world and what they do, like what fates actually do, how actually powerful they are, how they were created, stuff like that. When I am finished with the whole trilogy, I am definitely going to be reading all of those pages in the fandom. For now, in the second book, we are following Donatella. She is playing Caraval and she has to win the game. She has agreed to this bet, let's call it bet, and she has to learn Legend's real name and give it to who she made the bet. And this is all in the synopsis of the book itself. So she came to this conclusion that if she plays the game and wins it, she is going to ask Legend his real name. And she thinks that she is going to get his real name. And that was one of my problems. In this world, I have been seeing nothing but guessing. Like in the first book, Scarlet did that, and now Donatella does that. Like they all have this idea. Like if I do this, then this is going to happen. Like, how do you know? How do you know it's going to happen? And in this book, she is going on and on about she is going to meet Legend and ask his true name. Like, Legend's identity is his most treasured thing. Do you think just because you won the game, he is going to tell you what his real name is? Maybe he will do that, but you don't know that before deciding that you are going to play the game. You can't know. Like, as a person who's new to this world, you are having, like, you kind of have to accept whatever they say as true, but it may not be true. Like, they find out new stuff and they come to new conclusion, and you're like, how did you come to that conclusion? How did A become B? Like, how did you come to that conclusion? Enlighten me. Like, what if your logic doesn't work like that? Like, this is a magical place. What if this magical place doesn't work like that? They don't like think of the consequences. Let's put it that way. Even if they think that way, halfway through they find out new stuff and come up with a new plan, and then you're like, what was the point of that plan? There are some of those moments that I am going to have to reread to look at them in the hindsight so that I could understand better, in my opinion. Like, maybe I am not catching some stuff that I should be catching, you know? Anyways, those are my problems with the plot, but again, none of that matters to me. I don't know, I just love this universe. I want to read the whole wiki of this fandom. I can't wait to finish book 3 so that I can read it. A review for book 3. I'm only 40% in. There is another quest, of course. Something huge happened to, honestly, everybody. And yeah, I'm just here like this. It's been a few days. I think I was like 40% in. I stopped consuming finale, and I think now I realize why I didn't want to read. I was telling myself that I didn't want the story to end, but I think it's actually because there is a love triangle. Honestly, I don't like that. I'm not opposed to that, but everyone involved in this love triangle, I kind of love them, and I wouldn't want to choose anyone over anyone, and no one is the good guy either. Everyone has their own faults. You may have already know that I usually tend to like the bad guys of the stories, not the evil people. The bad guys who are actually good, but the others see them as bad guys. You know, I love them. All of these three people have their moments where you question if this person is really a good person. I am never sure. I don't know which couple to root for. I actually favor one couple over the other, but in this update, read until like 70-ish%, and there was this moment that something else happened, and now I feel like I shouldn't be rooting for this my favorite couple. But then something else happened, and I'm like, if this was that simple, why would you go through all of that? Just to show us how much this person loves the other? Like, we didn't have to. I don't know. Maybe in the next 30%, we will get why that plot line was important. If it was. This love triangle makes me uncomfortable. I think it's not quite 5 stars. Maybe it went down from 5 stars only because I took such a long break. Because the moment I was back in, I'm still like, I love this book. I love the character. I love the world. I love everything about it. Yeah, by the end of the book, maybe it'll go back up to 5 stars. It's not like it's not 5 stars, it's like 3 stars. It's not like that. So far, it's 4.5 stars. Maybe the ending will make it 5 stars again. Anyways, I will stop talking this much and I will go back to listening to my book, and I will update you when I am done or when I'm nearly done. As you can tell from my giggles and smiles, I loved it to the bits. I do have some points that I can be nitpicky, but overall, I loved it. And I listened to the whole trilogy. And now I want to get all 3 of the books and annotate every single line. Okay, I'm going to first talk about the final book, finale. In my last update, I told you that I was in a place where I didn't know which couple to root for, and I mean, not root for, but I didn't know for sure which couple was going to end up together, because I think it was open-ended on purpose so that we kept guessing what could happen. You know, I am a fan of endless twists. The story has a definite favorite character, and you would expect that main character ends up with that person. But as a person who has been into twists since I have known what twists are, I didn't want to be sure, like, this is what is going to happen. I wanted to keep an open mind that maybe some sort of twist happens and this other couple end up being a real couple. So I didn't want to guess. You know, I don't like guessing the story beforehand. I am very happy with the ending, but again, I have some nitpicky stuff that I can point out to, like, for example, I have said this before, I think throughout this vlog, that characters were like, if I do this, this is going to happen. You don't know that. Nobody knows that. If that's a rule in that magical world, we were never told about that. And as a reader, actually, that doesn't sit right with me. Some pieces fell into the place when I watched this interview from Clockwork Reader. Hannah, this girl, Clockwork Reader, she interviewed Stephanie Garber, the author of this trilogy, 6 years ago. I watched that interview, like, it's like 10 minutes, 15 minutes interview. There, the author says that didn't plan everything that happened in the story. She just wrote, see what comes next, you know? You could kind of tell. I was hoping that it was not the case. I was hoping that some things that we wouldn't be able to know would be explained in the future, but that never happened, and it makes sense why it never happened. Like, it is such a huge story, such a huge world, but I am ready to gloss over all of those small, tiny little plot holes and give this book a 5 stars. And there is another nitpicky point. I also mentioned this in my Goodreads review. Some points were dragged out for way too long, and some parts were glossed over so easily. I honestly thought what we were being told was an illusion or something that narrator wanted us to think that way, but it was not actually that way. You know what I mean? Like the narrator was telling us what the character is seeing, but character wasn't seeing the whole story. I was under the impression that what we saw, what we experienced wasn't the truth, but that didn't happen. That particular scene happened so fast. I thought that it might not be a reality. Like, I was expecting that we would be told that that's not what happened, but that didn't happen. So that is one negative thing that I could tell about this trilogy. So overall, this trilogy is about 2 sisters who have this strong sisterly bond, and they would do anything to protect each other. And the romance part of 2 sisters is totally in the background, in my opinion. It is not shoved down our throats, which is something that I really, really love. I hate when this happens in books, like in movies, whatever. Like, the whole world falls apart and the 2 main characters are making love in the other room. There is a war going on. What the hell are you doing? That didn't happen in this trilogy, thankfully. What I really also loved about this that I have never in any other book or a movie is that one of the sisters, like the younger sister, was not all about romance or all about being a leader. That is a story we see all the time. And Scarlett, the main character in Caraval, she was all about family, getting married, finding her prince or whatever. She never called her prince, but her sister Donatella, she was already going around people, you know? She was having her fun. She was going around town and having fun with men as men would do with women, which is something that I have never seen before. She was not hanging on to any person. She was not running after anyone. She was not looking for love. And to be honest, we get explanation why she was like that. And that explanation was, to be honest, not needed, but very well written into the story. In book 2, I saw some comments that people were like, oh, this poor guy ended up with Donatella. Donatella was pictured in book 1 as such a careless person that people didn't seem to like Donatella. In the first few chapters, I thought Donatella was such a bitch. Obviously, she isn't. Quickly learned she is actually as caring as her sister. Anyways, I love all the characters there. To be honest, I was kind of confused at some points. There were far too many magical creatures, and honestly, I was so afraid of Googling some of them in case I would see some spoilers, because that has happened to me with some other series. I don't care about that series, so it wasn't much of a deal. But this one, I didn't want it to be anything to be spoiled. So yeah, I didn't Google. Now that I am finished with the trilogy, I am going to read every single article on Wiki Fandom. And the way Donatella and her partner partner talk to each other like they didn't care about each other. It was like childish dialogue. I should have hated that. I should have cringed at it, but it was so cute. I'm going to put the pictures on the screen. This is out of context. If you know, you know. If you don't, that is just a funny text, in my opinion. I am not going to shut up about these books for a long time. And I'm actually going to start reading Once Upon a Broken Heart. It is in the same universe. And I have seen one spoiler from that book. I have seen one spoiler, and when I clicked on the spoiler, I didn't know the spoiler was about that book. It was just a fan account, all of the fantasy, book talk fantasies, and I didn't know which series it was from. Most of the page was from Akatar, and I have no interest in reading Akatar, and I have watched Carrie Can Read video, I have watched all of them. Like, I know what happens, and I am not interested at all in reading it myself. There are some stories that have so many plot holes that I cannot look past them, and Akatar is one of them. If the plot holes are small enough that I can turn a blind eye, it's fine. But from the first page, when I can say, you didn't have to do that, you could do this, it's game over. Like, you can argue that it is for character development, but to be honest, there is no development at all. I don't know. So yeah, I got a glimpse of a huge spoiler, but again, I love twists. If I didn't know about that plot twist, I maybe would have expected it anyways, because I am expecting all possibilities. You know, I'm a student of Game of Thrones, especially Lord Peter Baelish.
Every possible series of events is happening all at once. Live that way, and nothing will surprise you.
I am now talking out of my ass right now. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. Caraval, perfect magical trilogy. It is great. Go read that. Let me know how much you love it. And if you don't love it, I don't care if you don't love it. I love it. I will not accept any criticism on that trilogy. The next time I do reading vlog, I'm going to be doing a real time, and I'm not going to do it spoiler free. I can't talk vaguely like this. I want to say all of my opinions because I'm an opinionated bitch. If you're watching the video, you can't, like, me talking vaguely is so redundant in my opinion. So I want to share, like, go read the book and let's talk about it. My next reading vlog can be like 2 hours long, like how Carrie Can Read channel does the whole book, okay? Because like I can't talk like this. I can't talk as vaguely as I did right now. This is not fun. And I am giggling here and you don't even know what I am giggling about.
Remember the time? You don't remember?
I need you to know. So just go and read the book. It is speechless. After this long of a video, I am speechless. That is all from me. Thank you for watching. And now I'm going to go read Wiki Fandom. Okay, bye. So, welcome to the spoiler part. The first spoilery part that I wanted to talk about is when their father caught them with a guy. When Donatella told her father that it was Scarlett who was with the boy, I was really, really angry. Like, what a bitch, you know? Scarlett is following all the rules and still she is going to get blamed for something she didn't do. I was really angry with Donatella at that point, but then they clarified that the father punishes the other one. This is like a pinnacle of psychological punishment, you know? Anyways, so the father punishes the other one who disobeyed the rules. So the other one has that guilt on their conscience, which is like, wow, what an awful person, but props. Good job keeping them in check. When the narrator told us the father punishes the other one, I was like, wow, now I like you, Donatella. It was really cute at that point. All of the anger that I felt was gone in just one sentence. I didn't like when she was starting to develop feelings for Julian, and I understand that it is not up to you to develop feelings, but you know, once you know that person has been with your sister, with your any kind of relative, that person is off limits. So, but it turned out they didn't even kiss, so they didn't have anything going on between them, so it's fine. It's fine. So I apparently forgot to talk about the spoilery part of book 2 and 3. So if you have read the book, in book 2, we get to know this new character called Jax. And I'm not gonna lie, I like him. I like Dante. Even though I am rooting for Dante and Tella, I like Jax. I know he's not a character that I should be rooting for. I like villains. Sue me. But there was one, I don't know, inconsistency or something that I didn't quite catch. Okay, the more I think about it, the more I find it ridiculous, but not to the point that I hate it. But you know how in the book 2, the main premise is that Tella has to keep her word, and I said she made a bet. It wasn't a bet, like I don't know. She made a promise, not a bet. She has to deliver what she promised. That, like, she has 2 choices, and both of them are based on pure speculation, which I've talked about it before. Like, it is kind of ridiculous, but again, it's a young adult book. I'm not expecting much of a depth here, but in the same breath, is that how you say it? Anyways, in the same breath, she was kissed by Jax, and her heart started beating slowly, or you know, not normally. She was in such a worry that she is not going to make it, and she has to solve this problem. And then once she realized she is the one true love of Jax, so his kiss cannot hurt her, her heartbeats went back to normal. The author tried to explain it, but in my opinion, that was an afterthought. So she tried to make sense of it, but it didn't work out, in my opinion. It's okay, I can look past that. Problem solving part was way too complicated just to be complicated, in my opinion. Because they were based on speculation, not much of them had strong basis, in my opinion. And the spoiler part of book 3, finale. In the previous clips, I said that there was this one moment that I thought we were being lied to by the narrator, or what Donatella saw was not the full story. I was obviously talking about their mother's death. The whole book too turns out to be about saving her mother and Legend. In book 3, she just wakes up, abandons her children once again, and goes to die. It is okay when a character dies. I honestly prefer when a character dies. It makes the stakes higher, but she died because of her own, like, she didn't even die with, like, her death happened so secretly. Throughout the whole book, I thought she's going to come back. Even though we saw her body, this is a magical world. Things can happen, and she may not have died properly, so she may have been able to brought back. I don't know. I just didn't buy her death scene. That was my only problem with book 3. No, I have one more. So apparently, in finale, Jax tricked Tella into marrying him, and they were married just like that. We didn't even know. And they got divorced just like that. That whole debacle didn't even have to happen. Jax always said that I can find you whenever anyways. It's not because of the bond they had after the marriage. That wasn't because of that. As I said, after I watched the interview with Hannah, Clockwork Reader, it became more obvious to me that she just invented ways to keep the story going. That is actually very uncool in my books. Again, I love this world so much that I am willing to look past it. There were so many such good creations. I just don't know how to say good things. I can only complain about the bad things. Just know that I don't just give out 5 stars. I would have given them 4.5, but this is good enough that I can look past those plot holes, give them 5 stars. Again, I cannot talk about the good stuff in the book. I don't know why, I just cannot. Maybe I should have been filming the good parts right in the moment, because right now I have the overall feeling, but I don't know which page, which chapter 2.2 that this is the best part of the book, because I don't know, the overall vibes were amazing. The games and the lies, and we didn't know much. We had to find out as we went along with the characters. So yeah, I think that's all from me. That's all for the spoiler part. Even though there were these plot holes, it will always have a special place in my heart. That is all. Here are some gems that I found on Pinterest. If you've read the books, you get the references. If you don't, I'm sorry. Explaining a joke makes it worse. But this one is not a joke. They are not jokes. They are very well written quotes from the book. I love this. I love this. I cannot express how much I love it. And okay, I'm going to shut up now. Goodbye.